Frame 76 coming hot at you on a wonderful Thursday afternoon. Before we get into any of the great topics, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, all that jazz. If you want to be a guest on Gutterball, get at us, DM us, email us, comment. Just get on Gutterball because I've been saying it and I'll say it again. Y'all are lacking and I'm kind of disappointed in every single one of you. But what's up, gentlemen? Oh, wait, we got our guest Ryan with us. Oh my God, I didn't introduce the guest. I'm terrible.
Yeah,
the whole cast is ruined. We got our fantastic guest Ryan joining us today. It's going to be a great cast. Gentlemen, how you guys feeling? What's up? What's new? What's popping?
Doing good. How's it going, Ryan?
Doing well.
Thank you for Yeah, good to see you too. Thanks for coming on. So before we jump into song of the week and all that stuff, I guess first we could just talk about like who Ryan is, where I know him from. So I went to middle school and high school with Ryan. We grew up in the same town. He's still living up in that area. That's pretty much it. Like, we've just known each other throughout school. We've had classes together. We've both encountered interesting things throughout our times in school, and also just have like very similar friend groups too. So we've always just kind of like been on each other's radar. And I think we've even hung out a couple times outside of school, which is dope. And honestly, we should do that more often once I'm back in town. But how have you been, man? What's new?
I'm doing well. I mean, honestly, it's pretty much the same stuff. I'm always up to pretty much the exact same thing.
Yeah, hey, nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's really good to see you. Yeah, and I've definitely like slept over at your house a few times way back in the day. Yeah.
Probably in this room right here.
Yeah, probably. I remember sneaking on the bus. You snuck me on the bus and like ready to get me over to your house for a sleepover.
Yeah.
And I was terrified because you're like, this bus driver is really mean, man. He'll kick you off.
And he was.
Yeah, dude, he was.
I knew who he was. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I remember we were about to get on the bus, and like the person in front of us, he's like, "Hey, man, are you on this bus?" Then not even to me, to the guy in front of us. And I was like, I put my head down.
I think they thought you thought he was talking to you, but it was really the kid in front of you, and you're like,
yeah,
oh, yeah. That's funny.
Good times.
Yeah, good
It's
times,
funny we
man.
thought that was bad, but I never had a problem with that. Like, I would tell them, like, they don't care. Just get on the bus,
See,
why would they care?
I kind of get it from like an adult perspective. Like, who the hell is this random kid on my bus? But I feel like it's only a problem if it's like, like a bunch of people. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like one kid.
Not
it's like,
room,
okay, whatever. But like, I get that they're supposed to go to their designated stops,
Yeah, but like, what, a school bus hijacking? What are they afraid of?
Yeah.
Kid. Yeah.
Fucking
Dude,
kid pulls out a switchblade, fucking got a student.
Bro,
Hits the second tower.
Oh, God.
Jesus Christ. In middle school, they wouldn't let me on the bus one time. It was an after-school bus, I swear to God. You had to have a pass, like a little pass signed by a teacher, and I didn't have one. And I tried to get on the after-school bus, and they told me no. I literally had to call Dad. I'll never forget that. So maybe they were worried about hijacking, and maybe I was gonna.
I'll never forget this time. I was like the second to last stop in Woodland in middle school, I think, like on going home. And we were on like Jackson, what's that busy road above you guys? That long one that's flat.
Martin.
No. It's like it's like a block above Wabasha. It's like at the end and where it stops and it just goes long.
Oh, I don't know what it's called.
I don't know what that road's called, but we stopped there, dude, and I'll never forget this. There's like a hill that goes down, so when cars come up, like honestly, what happened was a guy blew the bus stop sign, which is like a huge no-no. Like when the arm goes down, kids are gonna cross the street. This guy blows it, but then like stops halfway when he notices it because he was coming up over a hill and didn't even see the bus. And I'll never forget my old man bus driver like opens the window. He's like, "Hey, cocksucker, that's illegal." Like, he's like, "These are fucking kids crossing the street." And the guy's like, "I couldn't fucking see, man. Fuck you." He's like, "You'll be hearing about it in court." Like, they're fucking yelling at each other. And I'm like, come on, man. Don't sort of fight. I'm like a block away from my stop, come on, But it was,
out.
Yeah, the bus driver gets out. I just watch him get smoked. The dude's a trained fighter or something. No.
I remember when I was in 8th grade, because I had never taken the bus. I always got a ride to school, but it was like the orientation day, and so I got to take the bus in 8th grade, and I had to walk really far to the bus stop. And it pulls up, and it's a short bus, and I'm like, it can't be first day of 8th grade. I'm pulling up in the short bus, and the whole ride on the way there, I was like, I guess nobody told me. Like, I'm the only one here who isn't in a wheelchair,
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh my God.
So you're the only one? You're like getting off the bus with like your jacket, your binders up, like you're fucking...
Yeah, and I was like, well, I'm going to a new school. Like, I don't know who any of these people are going to be. And I pulled up in the short bus.
Dude,
Yeah, I've had that happen. That's embarrassing, man.
dude,
It's
it
very
truly
embarrassing.
is like so funny and interesting how, I mean, at least most people are like this, how much we cared as kids. And just now it's like, I wouldn't give a shit. You know, like there are so many other things to be concerned about than
Oh my
like
God.
getting off on the short. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's just like
I
back
wish,
then
yeah.
we cared so much, and I wish I could tell my younger self, like, who gives a shit? Like, who cares what
Nobody.
your hair looks like? Who cares what clothes you're wearing? You know, who
Mhm.
cares who you hang out with? But it's just
I just
crazy like how we change when we grow up.
I just put it in perspective of like I don't remember anyone from my high school, nor do I care what they wore or did that one time. You know what I mean? It's just like I wish teachers emphasized that a little more. Maybe I would have had a better time in high school, but
I will
you
say
know.
this, the people I thought were popular, I don't really remember many of them. Like it's only the
All of
people I
them
hung out with or knew that like I remember.
all of them that were popular are doing horrible right now. So, jokes on
Actually,
them. Yeah,
actually
like a good majority of them.
there was a time like a few like it was like 6 7 months ago where I was like, I wonder what this person's up to, and I'm just like, oh, they have 4 kids now from like 3 different like guys, and I'm just like, yeah, checks out. Like, you know, like I was just like, yeah, seems to be going well for, not that that's bad, but it's not ideal when you're 24 25 whatever, you know. uh but yeah, anyways, on to song of the week. What a way to open the show there, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Jack,
Little
what's your song of the week? Are
my
we just gonna
song of
do
the
like
week,
recaps?
I'm just gonna do my Spotify top artists real quick. We'll run down it. Maybe y'all will have some of the similar ones. All right, number one, we got the Suicide Boys. Number two is the OG Rush. I can't believe it wasn't number one this year. It got pushed down a little bit. Number three is Bones. Number four is Megadeth, and number five, Puya. So those are my top artists from Spotify Wrapped. I had 90,000 minutes listened, which is roughly 60 days. So there you go. And last year I had 120,000. So I really cut back my lit music listening. But anyway, that's my Spotify Wrapped. No, that's all I got.
I'll go next. So I don't have Spotify. I have YouTube Music, but they have like a similar recap thing. Yeah, I know. Everybody shakes their head. They're like, "What the fuck? What's wrong with you?"
Yeah,
You know what?
it's-
I like YouTube. It's probably like my most used social media platform, and I like not having ads, even though I could have an ad blocker. But I just have premium. That's why.
Same.
Anyways, my top 5 artists. First of all, I'll do my top song, but I'll do artist too. So my top artist was Riff Raff. You have to admit he did drop a lot of bangers in 2023, so we can kind of admit that, right?
You can admit all you want.
BLP Kosher's number 2.
I love BOP.
Yeah, dude. Number
Like that.
3 is Suicide Boys, which
Wow.
honestly I'm kind of surprised of because I don't feel like I listen to them that much because I like a lot of their older stuff. Not saying their new stuff is bad, but like I don't know. I feel like I didn't listen to it that much. And then number 4 is Code Orange, which is like a heavy band. They do a lot of types of different music, like industrial style metal. And my number 5 is Christ Dillinger of all artists. My top song was by Riff Raff. It was Stars in the Roof of My Car. I don't know. I like that song a lot. And then what was the other thing? My second top track, though, complete opposite from Riff Raff. It was Hearts on Fire by John Cafferty from the Rocky IV soundtrack.
It goes pretty hard. I like
Yeah,
that.
it goes hard. It goes hard. But yeah, that was my top artists, top songs. How about you, Ryan? Do you got a song of the week or song of the year?
Let
Or...
me think. So I've been listening to a lot of just like iPad baby Zoomer music. A
Okay.
lot of yeah. Like, I got
What is that?
What the fuck
I don't
is
know what that is.
just some like hyper pop, just some garbage, you know.
Yeah.
But it's pretty good. I've listened to a lot of Snow Strippers lately, and then there's this dude who I found recently, a Bodyguard, and it's with 2 A's. He's pretty
Oh, okay.
cool.
Bodyguard.
If you're into some
Okay.
if you're into some like TikTok Zoomer like iPad baby music, it goes crazy.
I still don't know what that means, but I'll look into
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
iPad Zoomer. I like that term though. iPad Zoomer music. Well, if we're on the topic of music, so I wanted to do this like a little thing a long time ago, but there are some sus rap lyrics out there. Now, what I mean by that is some like rappers like Biggie Smalls, Eminem.
You talking like
saying
Dick? What about Dig Bar gay raps?
Well, no, because
pretty
see,
sus.
he's trying to do that. That's trying
fair.
to be gay already. But Biggie Smalls is pretty straight. And here's a quote I picked up from Biggie Smalls that I always laugh at, which is really funny. He says, and I quote, "When I met you, I admit it, I thought you was a trick. Your pussy so good, it makes me suck on your daddy's dick. That is Biggie
It's a
Smalls.
classic.
That is from Me and My
Instant.
Bitch. And yeah, I'm gonna go through these once a week. We'll pick one sus rap lyric, and that's the sus rap lyric of today. Biggie Smalls.
No, old Pharrell. If you go into any old Pharrell songs, one
They
after
suck.
the next, the most like listen to the first 2 NERD albums.
Yeah.
Every song you can pick something out of there. It's amazing.
It's hilarious.
It's amazing, and he changes it live. I was watching a bunch of like him performing live recently, and he'll change the sus lyrics. He knows.
Yeah,
He
I know. He knows.
He knows.
Kid Rock has some sus ones out there too. Like,
yeah.
really. How about this? How about this one from a Moses Jones, a kid's animated movie? Kid Rock as Moses Jones. Kid Rock has a lyric that literally says,
Oh yeah,
"Kids,
I remember this.
he's like kids, I like them young. Minors, yes, I gotta have it." That is
What
literally
the
like the lyric.
fuck?
It's you can look
Watch
it up.
that movie in
It's
science
in the movie.
class, man.
Yeah,
Me
what
too.
the fuck?
It's in the movie. It's during like a chase scene. You can hear it in the movie.
Doesn't Kid Rock
literally
play
the
like a germ in the armpit or some shit too?
I don't know. Maybe he does. I
How
don't
did
know.
they
But
get Bill Murray for that movie? He must have been down.
oh yeah,
Down
dude.
for like something. Yeah.
I just remember him eating the egg and how gross that was. He just
This-
picked up the dirty ass egg.
Oh
and
yeah.
ate
Does
it.
anybody know how well that movie did? Something tells me it's one of those movies where it fucking flopped at launch and release, but then like ended up becoming one of those cult classic kids movies. Like, there's no way
I
that
think
movie
it's-
did well.
I
Who
feel like
is
it did
it?
well.
You think
I feel
so?
like that was a-
It did have a good. It did have like
there.
a big cast, like Chris Rock, right? Bill Murray.
I'd have to watch it again.
Who
but I definitely
plays
watched
the
it in school.
pill robot dude? Is that like Tim Allen?
I can't remember. Maybe yeah, I think it
I
is.
think it's like Chris Tucker or something annoying.
Chris Tucker.
Chris Tucker. I don't know. Maybe it is Tim Allen. It sounds like a Tim Allen thing to do. I don't know. I haven't seen that in a while though.
Should we go into school stories? You got any, Ryan? You got any school stories off the top of your head? I got one from graphic arts class. I don't know if you were there for this, but maybe you
Start that
were.
one because I'm really bad at just coming up with stuff off the top of my head.
That's fine, man. Well, the one I got, I don't know. I knew you were in graphic arts class with me at one point with Miss Miller, and I took it like 3 of the 4 years. I didn't take it all 4. But I think it was like my junior year or something, dude. But there was this young kid that was, because graphic arts is an elective in high school where we went. So you could have freshmen, you could have seniors in the class. It was kind of like anybody and everybody. And she would just give like harder tasks to the kids that had done the class before or went up a tier in the class. And there was this one freshman kid. He didn't last like 3 months in that class, man. He's just watching anime porn on the graphic arts
That's
computers
what I was thinking.
in class. Yeah, he's just watching it. And then as soon as Miss Miller comes by, minimize. And then right as she walks by, back up. And this kid's just being sus. He's playing games and stuff, which is whatever. But this kid's just like avidly watching porn. And then like there'd be like girls on the other side of the room that know he's gross. And he'd like turn the screen towards them quick so they see it. And then as soon as Miss Miller comes in from the other room, flips it back. Like this kid was so sus.
Oh, I remember that. Dude, I think every class had one of those, or every school definitely had like a
weird kid.
Naruto watching, Dragon Ball Z, like no parents around.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, you know what I'm talking about.
like this guy-
running
Sociopath.
doing the run through the
Yeah.
hallway.
It started as
Yeah.
anime, and then it turned into like tentacle porn and fucking Pornhub
Oh,
and just shit. Yeah. And this kid is like, you know, like how we were in school, we would always be told, oh, don't look up bad things on the computer. Like, you know, like you could sometimes get a blocked site, even on a site that wasn't bad. And you think like, oh my God, I'm going to get in trouble. Now that I'm in IT, I know for a fact those fuckers don't give a shit.
Yeah,
they just
dude.
have blocks
No.
on whatever websites and then just hope that like it blocks you. And if it's a website they don't know about, yeah, dude.
Don't go to whitehouse.com.
Yeah, do not go to whitehouse.com.
You remember that one?
Yeah, wasn't it Kiefer that showed me? He's like, yeah, dude, go on Bing. You can turn safe search off, and even though if you turn safe search off, thered still be a filter. And he said, just type in Reagan. Like Ronald, the way you spell Ronald Reagan's last name. If you just type in Reagan, go to images, safe search off on Bing, it's like some dude getting anal beads pulled out of his ass.
Why would you want to see that?
I don't know. He was like, dude, look it up. And I was like, what's going to happen? I look it up. I was just so surprised.
Just
I mean, I do
dumbfounded.
remember like the lunchroom
Fell.
gathering around to watch a beheading video one time. That was pretty.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
That was a
Yeah,
good
yeah.
one.
That happens a lot.
You remember
I was
when
like, "Oh, it's funny."
y'all remember the boss shooting? we all gathered in class and watched the mock
Well, I
shooting.
was out of high school by the time that happened, but
I was
that's
in high
fucked
school.
up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
guys,
remember
check
that.
out what just got leaked on Facebook. You guys are watching a
it was
dude's
literally
murder.
like in that hour, bro. Like I got like 20 kids watching and we're all staring at the screen while people get murdered. I'm just kidding. That was
Dude,
fucked up.
I
That
was
fucked up.
working at the school district and I was on my lunch break and I'm on Facebook. I'm like, who shared this? And then somebody sent it to me and I'm like,
Yeah,
I was
that's
just like,
fucked up.
fucking, that was honestly probably the most horrible shooting video I've seen as of like in the last like 5 years.
I've seen a couple worse ones. I don't seek them out anymore, but the one where the guy walks up and he's like, "Hey, yo, you know Charlene or whatever," and he just shoots the old guy. Y'all remember that one? That one.
Oh, that one was messed up.
Yeah.
Don't remember.
Yeah, the
that.
Oh,
dude's
that was
like
fucked up.
75 and he's like carrying groceries. And the dude, isn't that what happens?
Yeah, he
The
literally
dude
just
walks up
his-
on the street and
his,
just blasts
his
him.
girl cheated on him. Yeah, and he walks up. He's like, "Do you know Charlene?" He's like, "Excuse me," and he just shoots him. And it's
And he didn't even know her. I guess there was
Yeah.
no connection. He just
All right.
killed that man for no reason.
More funny stuff. I got funny graphic
Funny
art stories. I
stuff.
got a good one. More funny stuff. Yeah. No, back to no more sad stuff. No more shootings. So I also took graphic arts with Miss Miller. She's a little bit loony by the time I had her.
Yeah.
Couple, some funny things. She ain't watching this. She doesn't care.
Ryan
And
knows
she's not-
she could lose it sometimes.
Oh, she
Oh,
was.
yeah.
She'd lose it on me all the time because I was a fucking hooligan. I was a piece of shit. I'm gonna be really sorry, Miss Miller. I was an asshole wholeheartedly. Like not even arguing that. But I took the class with older kids as well. One of them happened to be Jacob Smith, one of Weston's friends at the time.
Oh, yeah.
So I had an N with the older kids, so I always sat with them, and that was pretty cool. But Jacob, for a project, had a blank CD he needed, right? And I told this on the cast before, but he just had a blank CD he needed to do for a project. I don't know what it was. He left it at school, and he comes back the next day, and it's gone. He's like, "Oh shit, someone took my disc," and it's like he's like, "Oh well, whatever. I guess I'll get another one." We come back the next day, and the disc is returned to the exact same spot where he hit it. Like he hit it like underneath the desk, and someone wrote Doki Doki on it. And what somebody had done was program Doki Doki's Literature Club, the anime like click game, choose your own adventure, and put it onto his disc and ruined it and corrupted all his like save shit that he had for his project. So he puts in,
What an
he puts in the
asshole.
disc, and it's Doki Doki. The entire game's on a disc for some fucking reason. And he's like, "You motherfuckers!" He takes it out and snaps it in half, and it shatters in 1,000 pieces. And Miss Miller lost it at that point.
She
Like,
was
I
mad.
mean, like, yeah, dude, she was like just furious because he shattered
Oh,
it.
Yeah,
in
why
half,
don't-
our
like,
class. We had a kid threaten to shoot up our class.
What the
Jesus.
fuck?
God damn.
Remember, you were friends with him. I won't call him out or anything. but
Me?
He had a bowl cut. Yeah, you knew him from.
He had a bowl
living
cut?
with you.
No,
Bowl
yeah,
cut
that's number
kid.
one suspect.
He
Wait
Right?
a
wore like a jean jacket, and Miss Miller kicked him out of the class. And he said something crazy. He had a little manifesto going.
He's writing some stuff down. Yeah,
Wait.
I had a
Yeah.
couple kids threatening to shoot up
Did
the
his name
school.
start with a T?
Or with a C, I believe.
Oh shit! No, was that him?
Yeah.
No
they
way!
had to get the principal to come in there and drag him out of the class, and he was saying
I
Yeah,
think
man.
I
It was
think
over
I
for-
know who you're talking about. I think I do, but I'm not
Name drop
100% sure.
I
Sit-
think you knew him like from childhood.
Message it to
Something,
me.
like,
Do you know his
yeah.
name? Message it to me right now.
I don't know his
wanna
last
know.
name.
That's
I had
fine.
that
I'll-
happen.
He was younger than us.
A kid did the
I
same
think
thing.
I know
and
who
he
you're
ended up
talking
getting
about.
arrested. That was pretty fucked up. I saw him get tackled at school.
Jackson,
And then
why don't
while I was there, some kid
Xbox.
brought a gun to school, but he didn't put he didn't have any ammo or anything, but he definitely had the gun at school. Remember that? That was
Jackson
fucked up.
talk about the Xbox in graphic arts class?
Oh yeah. So I used to bring because I didn't do
Yeah.
schoolwork, so I'd bring my Xbox quite a bit to school and hook it up to the computers, and we'd all play like Halo or something. We get a LAN party of Halo, like 4 of us playing. And one time I'm in Miss Miller's class, not doing shit. I'm in the back. I have my Xbox on my lap with my backpack on top, so it's just burning my leg. And I'm sitting there playing Halo Reach with my buddies. We're all just split screening Halo Reach. She comes by, she looks at it. She goes, "Turn off the computer games," and I have a controller in my hand. I'm like, "Yes, Miss Miller." I turn off the monitor. She walks away, and we just continue playing fucking Halo Reach on Legendary or whatever. That was just so funny to me. She didn't give a zero fucks. She was just done at that point.
Dude,
Um,
I would run into her out of school. Like I think she lived in the Woodland area, so I'd run into
Yeah.
her at like Piggly Wiggly. And every time I'd run into her, every single time, since you did that shit, she'd be like, Paul, it's so nice to see you. Your younger brother Jackson wasn't a very good student or kid. Every single time.
my
Every
God.
time she'd like
Oh my
just bring
God.
you up. And I'd be like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Did it
Like,
to my sister Weston. I don't remember terrorizing her that much. I think I was really fucked up, first of all. But
Jackson,
yeah.
I'm gonna send you the name of the person that Ryan
you
sent
got
me,
to.
and he did for who this is, Jackson. We're
He
not
looks
gonna.
like the archetype of a he looks like Dylan Roof in our class. It was bad.
Christ.
No, I'm actually still really like decent friends with him. He has a lot of like mental like obviously had like a lot of mental things going on, and
Really?
he is diagnosed with a lot of stuff. And but he's actually kind of turned his life around in a way. Like he's really like kind of like evened himself out, and he's doing better than he was for sure.
That's good.
But no, yeah, that doesn't surprise me. He was, yeah.
That's funny as fuck. That's funny. That's
but,
good
You
shit.
guys ever make a teacher cry?
Yes. No, but I've seen classes do it. Did you personally
yeah.
make a teacher cry?
That was the class.
Yeah.
I got blamed for it one time in 8th grade. Yeah, I had
Fucked
like
up.
a history teacher in 8th grade. My buddy kept turning up the
Who was it?
thermostat. Susan Ray.
Oh,
Mexico, dude.
no.
Yeah.
He
But,
kept turning up the
My buddy
Was
Zach
that in the
kept turning up the
portables?
thermostat. Yep, it was in the portables, and he turned it up, and she kept saying he was the ringleader, and like I was his best friend or whatever. So she blamed me for it for whatever reason. But I remember she said she walked in and she goes, "Oh boy, it's hotter than the sparks between Lexington and Concord in here." And we were like, "What?"
What are you talking about?
What the fuck
It
is
was
that even?
insane. Yeah, and then
Yeah.
somebody threw a water bottle through a window right after it and broke down.
What the
It was the whole
fuck?
thing. Somebody
Dude.
from outside of the portable, yeah.
Dude, that's awesome. Teachers crying is funny. I'm just kidding. No, like, literally in
That's
the
horrible.
second day of high school, 9th grade, we were in choir. And choir was like a multi-grade thing too, so there's a lot of seniors in there. They made that teacher cry within 20 minutes of that class, and it was the like second day of school. It's like I didn't have respect for you anymore. Like I just didn't care because I'm like I make this teacher cry, and you think it'd be funny, but when you're there, seeing a grown woman cry isn't very funny. Objectively it is. But
No.
not when you're there. But when you're looking out, it's pretty funny. And then in elementary school, believe it or not, some 5th graders in our class made a teacher cry and run out. I don't remember being a part of that. Maybe it was. I don't know.
Dude, teachers are so underpaid. Holy shit. Like
I
the
cried
shit they have
too.
to put up with.
I
Oh
cried
yeah,
too.
dude. So I don't have a story about a teacher crying, but I have one about, and it wasn't my doing, but I had something to do with it though. But I wasn't even there, so I think I've told this story on the cast before. I don't even remember her name, but you might remember her from East if you ever took Spanish, Ryan. She was one of like the 4 Spanish teachers, whatever they had. She was on the verge of crying though. So I was out sick on a day we had a very important section Spanish test. It was like one of the last ones, right? And I had to take it the next day or make it up after school the next day. But I come into class the next day after I'd missed it. And there were, Spanish class is another one of those electives where you can have people older or younger than you in it. And I had like Alex Weiser's older brother, or I think his name was Alex Weiser in that class with me. And
Dennis'
like,
brother.
yeah. Alex Weiser's in the class with me, Sidney McEwen, Jacob Morse, just like all these people. And I was friends with them. They liked me. And I was like a freshman or I was a freshman and they were, like juniors or sophomores or something. And, God, I wish I could remember this teacher's name. Very skinny, long dark hair, but she was pregnant at the time. Okay.
Yep, I know. I had her too.
Yeah. I think it started with an S, maybe. I don't remember.
Am I forgetting it?
Yeah, yeah, you know who I'm talking about. Anyways, I come in the next day. As soon as I get into class, Paul, come into the hallway. And I'm like, is it because I missed a test or something? Like, what happened? She's like, she puts a step, how like that outside the classroom, they had like those tables and shit, like outside the Spanish classroom to like study. Yeah. She just sets me down at the desk, or like has me sit at the desk and just puts down a stack of papers. How come every like 80% of the classroom's tests from yesterday all have your name at the top? And like all the answers are wrong. And I'm like, I don't know. I wasn't here. She's like, you coordinated this. You made sure that I didn't know whose test was whose and put everybody put your name on it. You coordinated this. And I was like, I wasn't even here. She completely forgot that I wasn't here. She ended up believing me. She comes into class so mad. Like, you know how she'd get so angry she'd start swearing in Spanish? She got to the point where she was like trembling angry, like about to cry, like break down. But I figured like also being pregnant with hormones and shit didn't help. But then just Jacob Morse, Alex, Sydney McEwen, all of them that sit next to me are all just laughing because they all coordinated it. They all got like 80% of the class to put my name on the top of their quiz, fill it out, and hand it in. Why would you do that?
That's
I don't
so
know.
Cool. That is.
And I was like sweating when she was like yelling at me, and then I was like, I wasn't here though. You got to remember, I wasn't here. And I honestly think it was as far as like they had a sub that day for like the test, so like she wasn't even there. And it was like, it was just like, it blew up into this whole thing. But like, she was so fucking mad. And I don't blame her. Because it's literally just like wasting a whole class, like wasting a day.
We had somebody, I can't remember what they were doing, but they were something with a pencil. And it made her like break down. And she's like, all right, you guys won. And she just put on How to Train Your Dragon in Spanish and left the classroom.
Oh my God.
The pencil tapping. Funny. Was it the pencil tap?
It might have been. I remember there's something to do with the pencil.
You win.
Okay. I have a story about this guy, and I'm not going to mention his name, mainly because I just felt bad through him all throughout school. Do you remember Mrs. Levold in Woodland Middle School? Like the pirate?
Oh my God, I have a story about her.
Yeah, the really mean English teacher. Okay, so there was a kid in this class. He always meant well, but he got picked on so much. Okay? Name starts with an L. You probably know who I'm talking about. Anyways, he's in this English class with me. And we had this, you know, she'd do pop quizzes on Fridays sometimes. We get a pop quiz. And one of the things is, it's usually like 3 or 4 questions. And if you don't put your name in the right corner, you get like -1 point. So this kid got them all wrong, but then also forgot to put his name in the right spot and got -1. And she called him out in class about getting -1. And he just fucking starts crying, smashes his desk, and then gets up and runs out of the room. Just bawling, dude. I felt so bad, but I'm like, Jesus Christ, this teacher's a fucking cunt, dude.
Dude, she was horrible. Her room was up against the art room. I remember we had a sub in art, and I was in art class, and I never had a class with her, didn't know her, and she just comes running into our art class to yell at this substitute teacher, and he was talking to us, and she goes like, I need to talk to him, and she points at me. Like, what's going on? Like, what did I do? And he's like, I can hear him from my classroom screaming and swearing and saying all this horrible stuff. And like, and I was saying nothing. Like, we were just learning this. And she went to like the office, and it was a whole thing where they were going to like get me in trouble. And I was freaking out, and the sub stood up for me. He's like, you didn't say anything, man.
Yeah, imagine
what her problem is.
What if she ran into the class and pointed at an empty desk? This kid was yelling and screaming, and
Dude,
no one there.
Yeah. Dude, she would like that story I just told, the one you told, she would legitimately do stuff like that. Like, she would just pick kids out and just like ruin them. I don't know why. And then it all kind of made sense. Like, I remember I ran into, first of all, she dressed like a pirate or a witch. Like, she always had like pirate shoes on, and like she'd wear a pointy hat, and she had purple hair. And she was old. And when it wasn't purple, it was like blaring white. Like blaring white or red. And
she cackle at all?
No, dude, but she was chain smoking cigs. Whenever I saw her in public, she's always lit up a dark, dude. It was so funny. I'm like, that makes sense. And you're still also probably a bitch. Like, no one liked her.
Still crying. Yeah. You guys probably didn't experience this, but recently, like, it's a thing that kids did right at the tail end of my high school experience, where they would just vandalize and destroy bathrooms. And it's like a trend that was on TikToks.
They never did that when I was there.
My right hand to God, we didn't have soap in our entire junior year of high school because kids would take the soap dispenser every time they put a new one on. They'd literally put signs up, don't take it, asshole. You guys are shitheads, you know, whatever. So, stall dividers, literal fucking sinks, ceramic sinks shattered with hammers consistently. So, our second floor bathroom at East High School was closed permanently for the year. Do you want to know why? Because someone took a hammer to the ceramic sink and shattered it, and then they took the stall door. What they do with it? We don't know. They just took it off. It's gone. It's just one stall. They took the door.
Some kid came in there with like a Phillips screwdriver and was like, fuck this door.
And it wasn't like a one-time thing. It was all types of kids. They just take the soap. I walk in and the kid has a soap dispenser in his hand. He's walking out. I'm like, what are you going to do with that? Give me some soap, motherfucker. So I really think that COVID might have started at East, possible, because we didn't have soap. None of the guys were
I
washing
do
their hands.
remember. I remember I was in English class in 10th grade, and we had somebody who I sat by come and whisper to me, and he goes, "Dude, go in the bathroom right now. There is a perfectly round poop that is like the size of a softball." And I'm like, "What are you talking about, bro?" So I go up and I go to look, and he's not lying. So I sit down and I tell somebody, and it's this chain, and there's everybody in the class gets up to go look at this thing. And we're like, "What is going on?" So one person after the next, we all keep taking bathroom breaks. And at some point, the English teacher's like, "What are you guys all doing?" And somebody tells her, and she goes, "Okay, like, what are you talking about? Whatever." So she goes to go check on it, and she comes back, and she's like, "You guys aren't wrong."
What the fuck?
He had flushed it. Yeah, that was probably the weirdest thing. We were trying to figure out how that happened. Somebody mold it with their hands, or like,
Yeah. Did you guys ever have the groups of vaping circles? I suppose you guys probably didn't really, but
it was
remember
very
one
time-
new. It was
Yeah.
very new. Remember, like, vaping I remember, like, Ivan being one of the first persons with a fucking vape in high school. It was like honestly, 8th, 9th grade is when it got big. Like, I think it really got big towards the tail end, for sure.
Mhm.
But, like, at the beginning, it really wasn't around.
I just remember a group of, because we had really small bathrooms, but groups of 40 kids would go in there and vape. And I just remember the principal busting all 40 kids when they're all walking out, and they turn over their vapes into a big fucking bucket. And that shit's just so funny to me. Just so
kids
stupid.
were like doing like Russian research chemicals. We were in school.
Yeah,
and that was
yeah,
Ivan,
dude.
dude.
God damn, bro. Did I ever tell you about the kid that passed out from vitamin E accelerant from the cart right in front of me in his head? Yeah, dude. I'm not going to name drop, but I should. No. Okay. So a lot of fake carts were going
Vitamin
around
E.
at the time. Y'all remember this kind of. They had a lot of vitamin E
Mario
accelerant
carts.
in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Literally like that. Fake carts.
Mario Kart.
And we only found out it was vitamin E because he literally like had to like get a police report or some shit because he literally passed out and like cracked his head open from this cart and he like confessed to what it was. But yeah, he's in the bathroom hitting this cart and I didn't hit sus carts at that time, so I was like, I'm not hitting that shit. Where'd you get that? It smells like fucking battery acid. And he hits it and he just passes out and hits his fucking head on the ground in the bathroom on the tile, dude, and just busts his shit. And yeah, dude, it just happened to a lot of kids. They green out is what they called it, but I think you took something you shouldn't have inhaled. You inhaled paint thinner, dumbass. That's why you're passed out. Yeah, that was wild. That was fucked up.
Yeah, go ahead,
This
Jack.
one gang at school was selling carts but putting honey in it, so kids would hit it and the honey would come up through the hole and it'd be like, oh, it's in my mouth, and be like, it's wax. No, it's honey. Like, they just put straight honey in it.
Bro, that would like burn.
It did.
Like, it'd get like red
it literally
hot.
did. Yeah, pretty much, dude. That was funny as fuck.
All right.
That's all I
School
got.
stories is a good segment. We've been talking about it a while. I got one more, and then we'll switch it over to something else. Maybe we'll dip into kind of like what Ryan's up to. Ryan, do you remember a Mr. Anderson, a social studies teacher from Woodland? Kind of
of course.
Yeah. Kind of a bigger guy. Do you remember when he like whipped like the top potato or the sour cream down the hallway when he got super pissed? Do you remember that?
No, I don't remember that.
So I always rode the bus to and from school, but it was one of those days where like my dad was picking me up. Like he was literally coming from work. My dad was in his work clothes and he was coming to pick me up to like bring me to something or bring me to like an appointment of some sort, like dentist maybe. And this was like end of the day. Like social studies was my last class and I think I was only leaving like a half hour early or something. Anyways, I think classes were like 45 minutes. In the first 15 minutes, everybody kept talking, just kept talking. You know how he hated that? He would get so pissed when people would keep talking, he'd get mad and mad and mad. And he must have just had a bad day, man. Because then somebody comes into the classroom like late and is just like, oh, I'm sorry I'm late, Mr. Anderson. Like someone's got like my locker partner's got like something rotten in the locker. It stinks. Like, and the kid smelled because he was wearing the jacket that was in the locker with whatever stunk. And Mr. Anderson, oh, you stink. And he was just so pissed. He goes like, let's go look at your locker right now. He leaves the class like in the middle of class. I'm literally about to leave. Okay. He walks out and this classroom was near the entrance, like down the hallway where the main entrance to the middle school. He goes, he's in the locker, he finds it. It's like a fucking like entire thing of like, it's either top potato or Daisy sour cream, like a quart of it. And he's like, oh, and he takes it. He's so pissed. He literally just fucking whipped it down the hall, dude. So mad. And it fucking hit the wall and exploded. And this is where it gets even funnier. My dad is stepping in the door and looks to the left, and we're all watching down the hallway, and my dad watches this fucking thing of sour cream explode on the fucking brick wall. And my dad's like, what the fuck? Like, dude.
I should go ask him right now if he remembers that.
Yeah,
Hey, Dad, do you remember that time?
Dude, and like my dad had to walk towards where it came from because the office was like, at this weird spot where it's in like the middle of the hallways. And my dad was like, what was that fucking asshole's problem? Like when I got in the car, and I'm like, that's just Mr. Anderson. He's having a bad day. Like,
I did have a middle school math teacher throw a desk at it. That was crazy.
Oh shit, I remember that. Was that Wicker?
Yeah.
Was that Wicker?
Yep. Yeah. He lost it. It was this kid. It was Brett. If you remember. You remember Brett.
Yeah. I have some stories
was,
about that kid.
Oh,
Jesus.
me too. But he was antagonizing this man, and I knew something was gonna happen. And they both lost it. And I just remember, like, we all ended up in the hallway and through a desk.
That's pretty awesome. I've never seen a teacher hit a kid or anything like that.
I don't think it hit him. I didn't ever see it because I was in the hallway for this whole thing.
Suppose he would have got fired.
Dude,
probably.
That kid was weird. He was a very big attention seeker, but I also think there was something mentally wrong with him. But what was weird is, if you remember correctly, when he came to our middle school, he dressed all nice. He had glasses. He was a normal kid. And then all of a sudden, like a week later, he's dressing like wearing the same clothes every day. He stinks. He smells. And then he's a fucking buffoon, dude. Like this guy's literally like scratching his ass and trying to touch you with it. Like it was weird. Do you remember that? How like he changed and like. He was there for a week
with him.
Really?
He got kicked out. Yeah, he got kicked out for something.
I'll never forget. He was on my bus because he grew up he was living in Woodland, wherever he had moved from. He lived like literally like 3 blocks from me, and this was in high school. He had just gotten his license. He's like, I don't have to ride the bus anymore. Like, fuck you guys. And we see him coming home, like our bus stops on the street and his house is there. And he literally like accidentally had the car in drive and not reverse. And we literally watch him plow through his fucking parents' garage, bro.
No.
and like their Forerunner. And then we're stopped long enough that he gets out and he's like, oh, you see him like, he gets back in the car, in the garage. And then he goes into the garage and he tries to put the garage door down and he tries to back up into it to get the bend out of the garage door and fucks it up even more, dude. The whole thing's like hanging off. And then he just speeds out like reverse and just leaves.
I mean, the craziest thing he ever. I mean, he posted a picture of his balls on Facebook and tagged his grandma.
No,
he also, mentally well.
Dude, he did that a second time, but he tagged like every girl in high school.
Jesus,
it was horrible.
Who the fuck is this guy? Can we get him on the cast?
No,
yeah, you gotta get him on.
This guy,
right? I actually ran into him a couple years ago, and he goes, "Hey, you probably like remembered me from before, but I'm normal now." And it was weird. It was weird.
He
they got him on. Yeah, they got me on medication now.
Yeah, well, here's the deal. That's what it had to be, man. He had to have been like on medication, off medication, and then on it again. Because like I ran into him too, and he would always be like, "Hey, Paul," and he'd be like nice and normal and whatever. He was always normal to me. He never fucked with me. To be fair,
he was always nice to me.
Yeah, all of his buffoonery and shit he would do, it would either, honestly, horrible enough, it'd either be towards women or just towards like just being dickheads to jocks, which I thought was kind of funny. But yeah, that was an interesting guy. All right.
God.
No more school stories here. Like, Ryan, what's new? Do you want to talk about like what you're up to, what you're doing? Do you got any stories from work? What's new, man? What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing some graphic design stuff on the side, and then I've been working at Walgreens.
Hell yeah, dude.
And yeah, no, I mean, if you want to get a job that will make you hate old people, like you should start working at my Walgreens because those people are pretty awful. Yeah.
They're bad?
Yeah. There's some crazy stuff going on there. There's some random stuff, having to kick a lot of people out. Stuff like that. It's not that bad, but I mean, we had a bomb threat on my birthday. That was interesting. Luckily, my manager was there. I guess he picked up the phone right before I got
Who
to
calls
work,
it a bomb? Like, who wants to bomb a Walgreens? What did Walgreens do?
Apparently, my manager was just got a phone call, picked up the phone, and the guy's like, Are you the manager?" He's like, "Yep, you're speaking to him." And he's like, "All right, perfect. I planted a bomb in your Walgreens an hour ago. The second you hang up the phone, I'm gonna blow it up." He's like, "It's in one of the aisles." And so my manager just immediately hangs up the phone
Yeah,
and
right.
calls the police.
What are you gonna do? Just
Like,
hang
that's
up.
pretty sweet. Yeah.
He hangs
I'm
up
not
and then
gonna talk to this
a
guy.
bomb literally goes off. He
Well, and then
hears
the
it out
police
there
showed
from his
up.
office.
They evacuate everybody out of the building. Everyone has to stand outside. That's when I show up. So everyone's outside. I'm like, "What's going on?" And they're telling me all about this bomb threat, and then the cops just leave the building and go, "Well, if you guys, we didn't see anything. If you guys see anything, just call us again, I guess." And that was it. Never heard from it again.
Yeah, I mean,
Huh.
that's fucked up. Well, tell me about the
Yeah.
dude, the guy on the phone that was trying to steal information or something.
Oh yeah, so we get it. So we have a Western Union, which is it's how you can send money to other
Wire.
countries and
Yeah.
wire money within the country and everything. And there we get scam calls for that like almost nightly. Some of them are pretty convincing, where it's like, I need you to send me $10,000 right now. But
Yeah.
like it happens and it works. And I mean, places around here, it people fall for it all the time. It's usually pretty obvious.
Yeah.
But we had one the other night. It was pretty funny. We had this Indian guy calling in, and that he was like doing like a repair. He's like, "Yeah, I'm like a repairman. Like I'm servicing your kiosk right now. Like I'm gonna take you through all these steps on how to fix it." At first, I'm like, maybe he is, telling the truth. And he's like, "I just need you to send me like a small payment, $2,000. Just wire it to me to see if it's working. Do like a little test."
Why not like
Yeah.
10 cents?
Yeah.
Wait, I know. And then I
How
find
about-
out that other people, like the same guy that same night, had their stores fell for it.
So
If
let
you
me
get
ask
in-
you a question. If
Yeah.
he called, because I've been thinking about this a lot, because I've been thinking about going over to India and teaching them how to scam using American slang. But imagine if someone like me called with an American, I'm actually American. I don't have an accent. Would you be more inclined to give up information? I think you would, right? Because if some
No, I
Indian
think
guy
it's the
calls
other.
you,
I
you
think
immediately click.
the only reason I stayed on the phone with him at all because he was an Indian dude. Because if you ever need to get anything fixed, like on
They're
the
usually the
kiosk or
ones to
anything,
call,
it
right?
usually no, it will always be an Indian dude who gets really angry at you, which is pretty funny.
They always
The
get mad.
actual ones, yeah, they get really angry. So like if you're really trying to pull off a scam, just be an angry Indian dude.
They're working for pennies. I'd be pissed too.
Oh, I would too. Yeah.
I have to deal with support calls a lot, whether it be to like Microsoft. Like whenever like, right, I solve the problems for the people in my company, but whenever there's a big problem I need to solve, sometimes I need to literally contact Microsoft support or something because it's something that I can't solve and I just need to confirm that like it's a bug with their program or something, or like, hey, do this, And I've got like I'm not gonna lie. At first, I had a really hard time understanding them, but now I kind of like I can go back and forth conversation with those dudes, and it's no problem. But they will literally get pissed should you do one thing wrong. Like one time, I had to get logs from a dude's computer, and I clicked like one wrong button, which didn't even matter. I could have just clicked it again. It's like, no, why'd you do that? Like he was so pissed off. I'm like, bro, I'll just click the right one. Like it's all right.
I think the funniest thing is sometimes I'll have to call like the service desk or whatever, and there's like a store security thing that they outsource. And if you call it on a weekday, you usually get some like woman from like St. Louis or whatever who's super normal. If you call them on the weekend, like if there's a security alert or anything that you need to update people about, usually on the weekend it's like an Indian dude. And I called one time and this man answers the phone and he's so obviously like in some club somewhere. Like you can hear music in the background, like when he's trying to talk me through how to fix something. And like people are coming up to him and talking to him. I'm like, that's so sweet. That's awesome. That's gotta be he's just probably just on call all the time. That's gotta be an awesome job to have. So
I don't know. Being on call for IT kind of sucks. Like,
oh yeah.
when you're salaried, it's a good thing and a bad thing, right? Like, sure, some days it's really slow and there's much going on. You can kind of focus on projects or, whatever. But then some days it's like, oh, hey, you're working this weekend. Like, oh, hey, we need you. Like right now is like the busiest time for my company. So like I literally have on-call support hours. I'm on call all day Saturday. Now, what does on call mean? Really, that means like keep an eye on like the ticketing system and like our main contact for people in case anything urgent happens. It doesn't mean like my mouse broke, mail me a new mouse. No, I'm not going to do that on Saturday. But if it's something like really urgent, then like I'm on call for it. So like I just have to have my laptop open all day Saturday. But it kind of sucks because, Saturday, like I go boxing in the morning And then I go grocery shopping. So I'm going to have my phone on me and notifications on at all time. And then after that, I plan on probably playing video games and watching the UFC fights. And it's just like all that whole time I have to be fucking glued to a screen. It kind of sucks. Like, it's not great. But on the bright side, when it isn't the busiest season, then it's kind of chill, you know?
Nice. You know, I want to touch on weight loss a little bit on this cast real quick.
Yeah.
We'll go into this. Because have y'all seen the movie Precious? You know, the saddest movie ever made.
I have seen it. I watched that at a sleepover in middle school. I don't know why.
That's a fun movie to watch. It's a sleepover. Yeah. Anyway, for a while at the movie theater, I had my name tag as Precious in 3D. It was my favorite movie. You know, you had a little favorite movie thing. Got that asked a lot about that. But the main actor, the girl, Gabri Sibde, I think is how you pronounce her name. By the way, she is like the saddest looking person of all time. Like, you know, when she just looks her face, she looks sad all the time. But anyway, you know, she's very big and precious. I saw that she recently she got some like insane weight loss. Like she lost like 200 pounds and she's looking good. So I was like, man, shout out to her. Like fucking go girl, dude, because she's a big girl, but she's thinned up crazy. Like, it's crazy. She probably got on that Ozempic and what are those Chinese tapeworms and whatever the fuck they're taking, you know, those Hollywood people. But yeah, I wanted to touch on breaking diet a little bit. I know Paul did. Yeah, I know Paul did the other day. But I fucked up last night. I was like embarrassed by it. I didn't want to tell it on the cast, but I'm like, I think it's kind of funny. So I went out last night. I didn't come home till like 11. And mind you, I had to work at 6 a.m. And I get home and I may have stopped and bought some candy on the way home. And I come home, I smoke a little weed, and then the boys call me and like we're like, let's play Monopoly. So we've been playing Monopoly lately online. But anyway, we play Monopoly. I ended up staying up to 2 a.m. But in that period between 11 and 2 a.m.,
God, I miss those days.
I consumed at least 1,000 calories worth of candy, and I feel terrible about that. And in my mind, in my head, I was fine. But then I wake up and there's candy wrappers all over the fucking place, and I just feel awful. So I didn't eat anything today except for some protein. And I think I'm gonna be we're doing a little fast here because I'm surprised I don't have diabetes right now. I'm surprised I didn't go into shock.
That's what's nice about a podcast, though. At any minute, you can just stop doing video. Nobody will have to know.
Yeah.
The whale, yeah.
Jack does no camera for like 6 months. Finally, he's back on. I haven't seen him. He's been avoiding me. He's not going to family events and like holidays and shit. And then all of a sudden, he's like 900 pounds.
Did you see the
ending
of the
once.
Whale?
I did it once.
On at the end, yeah, just like
what?
that.
Yeah, the whale.
For students at the end of the whale.
Oh, I didn't.
Whale does.
He dies at the end. That's what happens, right? Like, he dies. Is that what kind of the symbolism was?
Spoiler alert. Yeah. I've been calling him the whale the whole time, though. His name.
Yeah, I don't remember his name.
No, I don't do this all the time, and I still look fit. It's just I was so embarrassed. I woke up in like a daze. I'm like all candy rushed and fucked up. And you know what? To be fair, I thought my stomach would hurt all day today, but I feel pretty good. I'm gonna be real. So maybe 1,000 calories worth of candy.
No, I think candy is actually good for you.
I think it is. So well, here's my take on it. So let's say hypothetically, like I ate 5,000 calories worth of candy in 3 hours. I don't think your body can absorb it all. So I really don't think it does anything to you versus eating 5,000 calories span within a week. You know what I'm saying? I feel like you gain. Day. Yeah, I feel like one day, don't do this. If you ate 5,000 calories, it wouldn't do anything to you, frankly. So I think I'm good as long as I do this once every 2 days. I think it'll be fine.
I agree.
That's gotta be how it is, right? I don't have any science.
On the side of fitness and diet, by when I say I cheated on my diet, is like I'm not really even on a diet right now. Like, I'm not tracking. I'm just kind of like watching what I eat. Like, I'm not overeating. I'm making sure I get a lot of protein. I'm not really counting it, like, because I'm not wanting to do a cut or a bulk or anything until after the holiday where I can actually be serious about it. Because let's be real, man, I love Thanksgiving. I love holiday food. I can't give that shit up. I'm gonna do it. And if I'm gonna be on a cut or a bulk or an actual diet, I'm gonna stick to it, you know, like, or at least I'm gonna try to. But like last night I ate 2 fucking hot dogs. I don't know why I did, but I had 2 fucking hot dogs. I had a bun and all. They were turkey cheddar dogs, so I guess it's a little better. You know, they weren't like actual like pork, but
I think hot dogs might be a superfood. I think you're good.
Yeah, I think they're fine. I think that's actually
gas station hot dog at 2 a.m. Nothing better.
Dude,
it's been on the roller all day.
When I move back up there, if I do, oh man, Quick Trip dogs, it's a problem. I'll go into
I've never
Quick Trip.
had
I'll
one.
get like I'll eat like 4 fucking hot dogs right there at the kiosk.
You know what I found out recently is Quick Trip has a mascot, and it's the most horrifying thing you've seen in your entire life. It's called the Urge, and it's a mouth
The
with
Urge.
teeth.
Oh yeah, I don't like that
Steve,
thing.
you guys got to find a picture of that thing. Look up the Urge, the Quick
Weird.
Trip mascot. It's absolutely horrifying.
Paul, I should have let you go first because the only reason I told my horrible eating story is because I'm like, oh, Paul has one too. He ate 2 hot dogs and I ate 1,000 calories worth of candy. I think I feel embarrassed. Surely you go first.
What the hell is that?
This thing?
That's fucking horrifying. Why does it look like that? Yeah, because their brand name is Urge. Oh, fucking Christ.
Yeah.
It looks like you smoke a blunt with him or something.
No, dude. That's
I-
like something you'd see in that new game, Lethal Company. Like, you're running away from that shit.
It looks
I
like
don't
something
know,
you'd
man.
see like during a surgery. I don't know. That looks like
They're
a
in
body part.
surgery.
Yeah.
like you skinned, you open your knee or something, and that's what it is.
Or like,
right
yeah,
there.
like they snake the camera inside of you and that thing pops up.
What
You
the
know what?
fuck?
Obviously everybody here probably has used social media at one point or currently uses it. You always see a lot of negative stuff, especially as of late. What is kind of nice on social media that I like to see and I see it every once in a blue moon is like something really positive where like you see a guy post something that you figure like, oh, everybody's gonna rip on this guy, but then the comments are all just like really wholesome and like supportive. Like, so for what made me think of this and put this topic down was today. I don't know why. I was on Facebook and I got suggested like a group called like Guinness beer is the best beer or something. Okay. It was like sponsored. And it was literally just a picture of this old guy, like with a Guinness, and he was sharing it with what looked like, his daughter that was disabled in a wheelchair. And he's like, oh, like great day for a Guinness to share one with my daughter. And I was like, oh man, this poor guy, like he's going to get ripped on. They're going to make fun of her. And I go in the comments section and they're like, yeah, man, like glad you and your daughter enjoy Guinness. And then the guy actually responded at the top. He was top comment and said like, yeah, we lost her 2 years ago now due to her, her problems. And thank you guys so much for all the
Guinness
outreach
drinking
support.
problem.
No, this lady was disabled.
She was an alcoholic.
Yeah,
You should have
she
seen
was
her
an
before the
alcoholic.
Guinness.
Yeah,
No,
that's all he puts.
yeah, due to like her issues or whatever. But it was just like, it's kind of nice to see things like that. You guys ever come across that where you find like a really positive thing as opposed to like you thought like people were just gonna shit all over this guy or make fun of him? I kind of thought that that's what I was gonna walk into, but thankfully didn't.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
that's-
actually been watching this one page. It's like Seven Haven something, but he's a physical therapist from the UK. This black guy that's really positive, but he works with disabled people, and he gets these kids hyped up that like are disabled working out. I don't know. I just think it's a good little motivational because he gets really excited for him, and then you're like, damn, this guy doing something good. But that's
Right.
what I want.
You think that most never you know what? Never mind. Let's skip past.
Yeah, maybe we should because I want to remember this as a positive thing.
As opposed to
What? Did I do something? What did I do? What
No,
were you guys saying?
no, fuck you, dude.
sorry.
I don't know what you said, but maybe not on the cat. Maybe on the cast, actually. You should say it. It's
It's
fine.
gonna be another 20-minute cut in this episode.
No,
Yeah.
no, I'm not laughing at that.
Okay.
Fucking Christ. Oh.
Something else that happened earlier that was really funny, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's
Yeah.
exactly what happened. No, I'm just thinking of something horrible, and what you said reminded me of it, and I can't talk about it on the cast.
Okay.
Can't
All
talk
right.
about it.
It's not like you're gonna cry.
I
You
am.
can talk
I
about
am
it.
gonna No.
You're fired. You're banned. You're off.
What else should we talk about? What else we got on this list here?
Lot of shit. Y'all ever see the lost 1996 Shrek animations? You guys ever watch those?
Yeah.
Yeah, those. Are some
I
good
hate
stuff.
them. They're freaky
Yeah,
looking.
they're terrible.
Chris
Paul, I don't-
Farley, Shrek or
Oh
whatever.
shit!
Yeah.
Yeah. I
I
saw.
don't like those.
Were those posted recently somewhere, or
They
they've
came
been
out,
around
yeah.
for a while?
They've been
Years ago, I
around.
feel like.
Yeah,
They've,
but
I feel like
people
it's
have
been
remastering
circulating
them.
again. Yeah.
It has, yeah, and
That
they
they're
are
kind of scary.
horrifying.
Yeah.
They're really, really scary. But I've always thought it was so funny that DreamWorks literally had Shrek as a project for the shitty animators. They'd be like, "Go work on Shrek. You just got Shrek'd."
Yeah,
'Cause
Chris
no one wanted to
Farley
work
was
on it.
originally gonna voice him.
Mhm.
he
Thank God that
passed
didn't
away.
happen.
I don't know. I think he would have done a good job.
You heard the
Jesus
test?
Christ.
It's terrible.
Well, it's because it was a test.
I think it's still terrible. I don't know.
That's fair.
I
I
think
think it's horrifying shit though.
we should have gotten somebody, somebody who looks like Shrek to play Shrek.
How about a
Yeah,
live action?
that's true actually.
Mm,
Mhm.
Uh,
actually, right.
Ryan, did you like graphic design school? Like, did you like what you learned and stuff like
I
that?
thought I thought most of it was stuff that I already kind of knew. Which is
Yeah,
like
that's kind of how it
still
was when
good
I
to
walked
learn.
into IT school, but there also were some classes where like ethical hacking and stuff where I was like, whoa, this is like a whole new world kind of deal.
Thought
You
the
know?
no, the best classes were the ones where they were like, "Hey, like this is what you're gonna need to know, like to be successful in the future." That stuff was cool, but a lot of like the actual technical skills and stuff was stuff that I had already figured out just on YouTube and
Yeah, because you would blow me out of the water in graphic arts class in high school. I'd be like, dude, how'd you fucking do that? That's so cool. Show me. And then like you'd show me and I'd be like, damn. And then like actually there's still things that I just play in Photoshop, you know. Whenever there's something I want to do or an effect I think is cool, I just Google it now and I'm just like, how do I do that? Or like watch a tutorial. Like tutorials have saved me. But also too, Photoshop has evolved vastly, man. There's so
Oh,
many
yeah.
cool tools and like AI things in there now you can use that I've actually been utilizing. Like my favorite thing, as you've probably seen from the thumbnails, is like using the auto blend layers for faces instead of like taking the long amount of time we would with like the heal tool and shit back in the day to
Yeah.
like put faces on other faces. And now I can just be like, boop, and just do it. Which is kind of nice.
Mhm.
I learned a lot of stuff by using worse versions of Photoshop.
Mhm.
Like I've been learning Photoshop and Illustrator on the iPad, which are just garbage. Absolutely like the worst
Horrible.
apps that Adobe has ever made. They don't keep up with it. They just feel like nobody uses it, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like their whole thing is like nobody uses this. And I've been doing like I've been learning how to do stuff that would be hard like on a computer.
Yeah.
I've been trying to figure out how to do it on an iPad with just missing like half the features. I feel like it actually helps me a lot.
Yeah, because you have to resort to a smaller set of tools to get work done,
Yeah.
right? And it almost ends up
Yeah,
turning
'cause
out better.
Yeah, because even on like old school photo, there's still people who use like CS5 or whatever,
There are.
Photoshop. Yeah, because those were the ones where you could actually own it without having to just pay for the license every
I
month.
wish that's
So, like,
how it was.
it's so stupid.
Mhm.
Absolutely the dumbest thing ever.
That is-
Adobe's evil, but
Well, you know what I don't get too is I even hear this so like we have a creative department at my job and they have Macs and they always have problems with the Adobe products. And I'm like, weren't they like supposed to be the best things on MacBooks? Like
I don't know.
but then like I see the problems they run into and I'm like, bro, I just use this on a PC and I have no problems. Like don't get me wrong, every once in a while like it'll crash, like every once in a blue moon because I did something weird or I imported something that was way too large or I did something wrong. But it's usually a pretty stable program as of now. CS5 had a lot of fucking all those older ones I think had a lot of problems.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I've run into some random problems that's like, how did this even happen? I had a picture that glitched. It was like a photo of me and I was just editing in Photoshop, just kind of messing around with it. It glitched and it looked like there was another person who does not exist in the photo, and it was freaking me out, dude. Like I don't know, it was like a demon haunted my Photoshop. I feel like only Adobe products that can happen. I don't
Dude,
really know, but
it'd be really funny if the devs were like, okay, put in like a 0.0000001% chance that it adds a spooky guy to the background when it notices like a photo, and like some dev put that in there just to fuck
was
with
like
somebody.
was definitely like a composite of my face that
Just got
morphed.
like you got more.
And it was freaky, dude. And I don't know how it happened. Like I don't know what happened. Just appeared one day. That's freaky. I don't know if I still have the picture. I gotta find that.
The
It's
fuck?
weird.
Like some
weird.
Soulway first shit or something. That
Yeah,
astronaut
yeah.
picture. What the hell?
You guys, speaking of like bugs and I guess just like viruses or even malware, have you guys seen like I mean, I'm sure you've heard of like Mudahar on YouTube. What's his name?
Ordinary gamers. or
Yeah,
whatever.
Ordinary Gamers. He's
Something like
really
that.
popular for this, but there are other guys that do it where they just like have a virtual machine completely closed off of the network and they purposely infect it with like old viruses that like are kind of dead now because new Windows and new whatever programs have things in place where like they're just not a problem anymore. Have you ever seen those? There are some cursed old like malware and viruses you can get, man.
Mm-hmm.
That just fuck with your
Pirate one,
computer,
yeah.
change things. A pirate one, like it does creepy things.
Fonzie buddy.
I always thought those were super freaking interesting, but I don't know.
Yeah, Paul, you should watch Joel Vinesauce because he will destroy Windows as well.
Oh,
He
yeah.
goes through and like does a meme. Yeah, you seen him.
Yeah,
He
like
destroys.
the corruptions. Those are
Yeah, the
so fun.
corruption.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are good shit. He destroys Windows Longhorn, which like didn't exist. It was just like a test thing. But I just love
Yeah.
all those. It's so funny.
Dude, some kid for his class project somehow got, which is arguably probably one of the worst versions of Windows. It was called Windows ME Millennial Edition. I think it came out in 2000, and it was like a bigger flop than Vista and Windows 8. Do you remember that? Windows ME. Some computers had
Yeah.
it, but so the computers that did have it immediately got updated to XP when XP came out,
Mhm.
like around the corner, or were backtracked to XP. I think XP was before Millennial Edition. Anyways, some kid in class, impressively enough, got it to run on a virtual machine and like presented Windows Millennial Edition to class, which it was so garbage, outdated, and just didn't work in general. The fact that he got it to run in a virtual machine was nuts. Pretty cool. I don't know. Old tech has got like this weird nostalgic, but also a very creepy factor where like just looking at early tech from like even the 70s or even farther back than that, it's like it's almost like it didn't, it feels so strange, creepy, and weird that it's like we made that, And you just look at stuff that's modern, it's just like completely, like holy shit, we did this. I don't know. It's weird.
Mhm.
I never really understood that shit, like how we went from having computers the size of the room to fucking like a couple decades later having one in your pocket,
That's insane.
Aliens. Ask Tesla. He'll tell you.
Huh?
He'll tell you all about it.
If I had to believe any conspiracy theory, it's that a crash really did happen in Roswell and that we reverse engineered the microprocessors on that ship, and that is how we got the phones that are in our pockets today and the computers we have today. Pretty believable.
That's what I'm
But
saying.
also,
yeah, we
maybe
gotta get into it.
But also,
Gotta
maybe
get
we just
into
made it.
aliens.
Tesla
Man.
himself said the way he figured out how telephones worked was that he got signals beamed from him from outer space to aliens that told him how to make telephones and shit like that. So
Tesla said
radios,
that?
let's
Oh,
see.
Nikola
Yeah,
Tesla?
I used to draw aliens and shit. And here, get this, the crazy thing. When he died, one of the first people to raid him was Trump's uncle. Trump's uncle was like the first dude to go in there and take all his shit, which is very interesting. Which is why, if you watch some like when Trump was president, he always pushed for UFO shit to come out because I feel like his uncle told him some shit because his whole family was always involved in that type of shit.
What was the king of that just died?
Which guy?
Queen
Philip?
died. It's
Oh, yeah.
Philip, King Philip now. He was super into UFOs.
Oh,
Mhm.
really?
Still is. Yeah, I was watching a whole thing about that. That's crazy.
Mhm.
If you go
I
into that because there was like a big crash in the 40s or 50s in the UK. I'm totally forgetting all the
Mhm.
details of it, and he was super big into that. Apparently,
Oh,
like,
was that the one at the school?
oh no, I know about that one. That's
Yeah.
also another big one. But this one was in the woods somewhere, and like I think two like infantrymen or whatever were doing some.
Is that the
drills
one
or
in
something.
Brazil?
Oh,
The one
yeah.
in Brazil
No,
or
that's
something?
not
no.
the Brazil one. That's
This
not
one
the
is
big
in
one.
the UK, but there's
I
a
do
lot.
remember
The
this
ones in
one.
Brazil are crazy. Like
Oh.
Brazil has evil UFOs that zap people to death.
Yeah, dude.
Dude,
That stuff is
Brazil
crazy.
is crazy. You go down there, a lot of the cities and shit will have like UFO statues, like of flying saucers. And you ask the locals that literally don't use internet or anything, and they'll be like, "Yeah, I mean, we see that every once in a while. Yeah, it just goes around."
Yeah,
Creepy shit. Well, it's
Brazilian
'cause
UFOs don't mess around.
dude, there's some weird ass stories about like them like killing people. But you know what's funny to me? Every time they talk about aliens a lot, they always stink. The aliens stink. They're like, oh, dude,
Yeah,
the
they have
smell
a
is
terrible
foul.
smell.
Yeah, they just stink. So
I don't know if you guys have ever got into like Skinwalker Ranch or any of that stuff, but I'm
Mhm.
obsessed.
I like
with
that
it
type
all.
of shit. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I started with the Bob Czar and it just got so much deeper into it with like George Knapp and all of them and William Tompkins and it just goes so deep. You can talk all day about aliens. I love that type of shit.
Good. Yeah, I love it too. I love cryptids.
Yeah, monsters, things.
Yep.
I believe them. I'm more inclined to believe some big like water monsters are out there, but there's got to be some lurking in the forest. A Mothman for sure. I don't
I
want to
don't
live in
even
a
think it
world where
has to be
Mothman isn't real.
physical. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it can be something. I don't know if it's like something that means like manifest in their mind, something like
Mm.
it's inside of us, but whatever it is, it's super interesting. It's super cool. I love going deep into like the cryptid lore because all of it is connected. But then it gets a little too like some people get too connected with conspiracy theories and all that. it always comes back to like the Jews made Bigfoot or something. And it's like, all right,
Jesus
all right.
Christ.
Maybe they did. I don't know.
Yeah.
I love the theory that
Maybe they did. What's wrong?
like continents, different continents and religions, each one came up with the same idea of a dragon, despite having no
Other things too.
connection.
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
you'll
that's
find a
weird.
lot of things that it's just like
You guys watch
they all have it.
Ancient Apocalypse on Netflix?
Not.
I think I have.
Uh,
With Graham Hancock? Is
Yeah,
that
yeah,
his?
yeah.
Yeah, I haven't watched that, but I know,
Okay,
yeah.
the name's a little
like him.
ridiculous, Ancient Apocalypse, but because it sounds like the aliens, dude.
Oh, no, I watched the first
Watch
episode,
that when
yeah.
you got a chance, Ryan, because he literally goes to all the earliest sites they've ever found of like early humans around the world. So like he goes to like Brazil, he goes to like the middle of like the jungle somewhere, he goes to like the UK, he goes to Turkey, and he goes to all these places where like the earliest human structures around the world, and finds that like in almost all of the carvings and like in all the literature, anything they found, which is mainly just like carvings and shit on stone or what's left, is that like every single culture from around those times around the world have some type of documentation of a flood and a big serpent.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy. Like there's a huge connection. Like even the Mayans, like all of them kind of connect. It's really weird. But also too, you got to think then a lot more of the world wasn't underwater too. So like they do a lot of cool visuals where like what it would have looked like, because a lot of like islands and shit, especially around like Cuba and stuff, were actually a lot larger back then than they are now. Just the water levels are just a lot higher, I guess. Super interesting.
Yeah,
shit.
there's a lot of cool stuff like that. Yeah, that one is cool with the serpent. And like
Serpent mound and
it's
all
in the
that.
Bible, like there's Leviathan, there's the Norse one, whatever,
The Nephilim.
Gander and all
The
that.
blue
But
giant.
there's this. I was just doing some looking into this place we're in Mexico, I believe. It's ancient ruins that are way older than they thought that they were. Like recently they discovered like, oh, people were here way before we thought they were. And I think it's got a weird name. It's like Puma Punku or something. But I don't know enough about that. But I got to look into that one because it sounds pretty insane.
Yeah.
Along the lines of all that.
That Graham Hancock, one of the reasons scientists don't like him is because he argues that the pyramids, like the ancient Egypt ones, were built way before everyone thinks, like thousands of years before we think they were, and he had some pretty convincing arguments. I like his Amazon rainforest stuff too. Apparently there were cities of millions of people.
Oh,
in the
yeah.
rainforest that are lost now completely, but they were huge cities, giant ones.
He doesn't, a lot of the scientists and stuff don't like him or disagree with him because he's literally just like, he's questioning what they think and they don't like that. And it's like he's almost proven that like there are so many sites he's went to just based on bringing other archaeologists there to look at like erosion and stuff. A lot of those things were there a lot longer ago than like actual history or like what books say. He thinks humans were around for a lot longer time, like a lot longer amount of time, you know?
Even recently, I know that there was construction workers, I'm pretty sure in Florida, were doing a project and they started finding human remains, like skulls and things. And they were digging them up in Florida and they brought a scientist out there because at first the construction workers thought it was like a murder or something. And they're like, no, these are like 13 to 14,000 years old or something, and they thought that there had only been people living in Florida for like the last 7,000 years.
Really?
And that was like in the 80s or 90s. So like we're finding out people have been here for way longer than we thought.
Yeah. In one of the episodes, they find what they think to believe the road to Atlantis or whatever, I think. We're like, but it's all underwater. And like you can see, if they go down there and you can see that it's like smoothed out, like it looked like it was a road at one point or shit.
Yeah, that was crazy. In the Eye of Africa. They found it because Plato described Atlantis as 2 islands with 3 rings surrounding it, and that's exactly what it looks like in the Eye of in the Eye of Africa. And it was once underwater. I mean, it isn't anymore, but at some point it was, and it got rid of all of it. But yeah. I'd like to believe there's some underwater shit going on.
Oh, well,
just aliens.
You also got to understand too, water erosion's crazy. That's why, like, I mean, think about it, right? A lot of our ships that go down now stay for forever and a very long time because, well, when you get so far down, like things are cold, like they keep their shape, but also we made those materials, so usually they're a lot stronger. The reason why we don't see things from that far ago is because it was like fucking wooden boats and like clay huts and shit. There's a reason why there isn't a ton left behind from thousands and thousands of years ago, and why the only ones that really are left are just usually massive stone structures or stone monoliths that were built, right? Because it's fucking rock. Like, that's really hard to like erode over time. But you think about like a wooden boat and shit, you don't really find much of those, you know, but you'll find a metal ship that maybe, you know, like the Titanic is still there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That shit's really interesting.
It is. It's yeah.
I know we probably gotta wrap it up here quick, but Ryan, I kind of had a question that popped in my mind, just kind of see your perspective. Like, I'm assuming like you haven't moved away from home, right? Like you've been in the Duluth area, right, for like basically your whole life. So like my perspective is like I moved away from home, and I've always kind of wondered, like, do you still see a ton of people that like you grew up or went to school with that are still around there? Like, you just run into people in places? Because I swear to God, dude, whenever I go up there for like a holiday or the weekend, or I go to a store or something, I always run into somebody I know. Like, is that like just like a common thing for you? Like, you just being there the whole time?
Definitely. But what's funny is I find that I've been running into more people that I know when I go other places. If I go down to the cities or if I go anywhere, I'll run into people who I haven't seen in years. Like the weirdest spots where you wouldn't expect to see anybody. Yeah. That's always weird to me.
Yeah. I run into people from my high school, but I always go out wearing makeup and shit, so none of them recognize me because I never did that in high school. But for some reason, I go to Savers every like 2 weeks. Every single time I run into someone, I you know, it's crazy. Like legitimately like clockwork. I think the last 10 times I've been there, but yeah, I don't like seeing a majority of them.
I will say this, Ryan, like I kind of feel the same way. Like, even being down here, I've ran into people that we grew up with, and one person you'll know, and I ran into him. Wow, probably a year ago now. It would have been fall a year ago down here. I was at, and this is the thing, is I'm kind of a homebody. I don't really go out, right? If I'm going out, it's either just like work out, maybe get food on the weekend, or just to shop. But I'm never like, I don't go out and just like walk around the mall or like just go to a brewery or anything. I don't really do that. I'm not a big drinker or anything. Well, anyways, we had this work event where they were going to do like bar hops in my area for everybody that lived in my area by work. And so we're hopping these bars, and I go to this brewery, and I run into Ian Nichols. Yeah, dude. I'm just like, I get up, I go to get a beer at the counter, and I'm like, Ian? And he's like, Paul? And he's like with his, I think, girlfriend. And I'm just like, damn, dude, like, it's been a long time. And that was just so fucking weird because like I just hadn't seen him in forever. It was like,
I was thinking, I just hung out with Ethan Clay the other night. So that's really funny that you brought that up.
Hell yeah,
he was just
dude.
hanging out with Ian.
What's Ethan up to? How's he doing?
He's in Denver. Yeah, he seemed like he's doing good. I think he's doing construction out in Denver.
Good for him. Yeah.
That's cool to see him.
Yeah, Ethan was a funny kid. I remember he worked at Papa Murphy's with me and Ian there for a while.
Yeah. And Ty.
Yeah. Dude, I love Ty, but man, he made me look bad with that job because we really needed somebody, and Ty needed a job. And I told my manager, hey, Jolene, like, you should hire this guy. And she's like, you vouch for him? And I'm like, I guess. And then, dude, I love Ty. Ty, I love you. But he really wasn't getting stuff done. He's supposed to be doing dishes. That should take a half hour. He's back there for 2 hours just listening to music, dancing, like not doing the dishes. And then Jolene ended up firing him because also he no-showed a couple times. Jolene ends up firing him, but then like kind of after that took it like a lot of stuff out on me, like as if it was like my fault. And it's like, I guess it kind of was. I kind of vouched for him, but it's also like we needed somebody. And I was young. I was like 16. I didn't really think of it, you know, like how that would affect me. But now like I know like to be careful of like who you recommend places.
For sure.
Or like recommend for work and stuff like that. Like, you just got to be careful because I didn't know Ty on a working level. I knew him as a friend, you know. I had no clue like what kind of work ethic he had. Huge but probably improved by now, I would hope. So who knows? Yeah. So, but no, dude, Papa Murphy's was interesting. There were a lot of people in high school that worked there. Like Eric Tattinen worked there for a while. Eric Tattinen, dude, is probably one of the hardest workers I've ever worked with. I don't know what he's up to now, but that kid was a fucking hard worker. And then like Ivan worked there for a while, and then yeah, there were a lot of people we went to high school with that were kind of in and out of there. I stayed there for a bit. I was only there about 2.5 years, but
keep meeting people who worked at different Murphys. Like, it's just a common job to have. I don't know what it is. Like, every single person I've ever met's like, I used to work there.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it usually
People
doesn't
are
last
brothers.
long for a lot of people. You know what's kind of crazy to think about, dude? Other than this job I have now, which is going on 3 years almost, I've been there. Papa Murphy's is the longest job I ever had, like 2.5 years. Because every
That's
other job,
impressive.
well, every other job I had before then, dude, I was a job hopper, man. But also too, I was figuring out what I wanted to do. Like, I didn't go to college till I was 20, so like I would go work 6 months here or a year and a half there, and then I'd switch it up because I get bored or burnt out. And then I like eventually when I was 20, I was like, I can't keep fucking doing this. Like, I just can't keep like getting bored, burnt out, and then switching jobs. Even though like I'd always put in my 2 weeks, I was always a very good worker, but I just like would get so fed up with things. And so going to school is probably one of the best decisions I ever made, to be honest with you.
Hmm.
Because I think if I didn't, I'd probably still be doing the same cycle.
Yeah, well, that's good to hear.
Yeah, well, props to people that can stay in the same job for a while, though. I don't know, man. I just like change. Like, I like to change things
Yeah.
up. Shit gets old. With the current job I have now, though, at least every day is a little different. So,
It's nice.
hell yeah. Well, Jackson, Ryan, is there anything else you guys wanted to cover? Or should we call it a show?
We call our show. I think
I think we're good.
we're good. Covered
Oh, yeah.
everything we wanted to for the most part. I've got really nothing. Just, keep up on the subscriptions and the liking and the views. That's all I can say. I'm gonna try to get out short content for y'all, and that's all I got. I'll let you take it, Paul.
Hell yeah.
Say it.
Ryan.
Oh, also, sorry. Yeah, thanks for coming on, Ryan. Super glad to
Yeah.
have you. It was fun.
Ryan, dude,
Wolf
it's
of
so
Walgreens.
Walgreens. It's so good to see you, man. Let's try to connect when I'm up north sometime. I say that to everybody. I hope it happens. It's just like I'm busy. I'm not really up there as much as I should be. It's really just for like holidays and whatever else. But let's try to get in touch. Maybe you can hang with Jack and I. Maybe we'll grab a beer or something. Who knows? Kick it. But yeah, man, thanks so much for coming on. It was really nice seeing you. I'm glad you're doing
Yeah, hit
well.
me up.
Yeah, for sure. And if you ever need anything, man, hit me up. Like, even if it's like tech shit, you need help with it, like, let me know. Because whenever my
Thank you.
friends need tech help, I'm more than willing to help them. So just ring my line.
I hope
Anyways,
the
yeah.
episode wasn't absolutely awful. I hope I didn't destroy it or anything.
Oh, no, dude, you're great. And honestly, I'd love to have you back on, maybe even a few months or something if you're up for it. Maybe do a little bit of a
Always.
longer show. And maybe even have you on for a special sometime. I know the holidays aren't
Good hunting
around.
special.
The good
Good
hunting
hunting
special.
special. We'll go find one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, there you go.
We'll do an Easter special and I'll dress up like a bunny or something.
I'll crucify myself with Jesus and come back for the dead.
Oh, okay.
All right. So
You're
yeah,
the whole time you're literally on a cross. That'd be so
Wailing
offensive,
out.
dude.
just wailing.
You're
whole
You're
time.
just moaning.
I'll do it. Yeah, I'll blood on my hand. I'll do the whole
Oh,
thing. You can
just-
nail me, actually.
All right. Well, everybody listening, thank you so much. Remember to like, subscribe, and comment. We really appreciate all the support we're getting. Especially check out those shorts. Those have been awesome lately. Thank you so much, Jackson, for getting those out. Everybody have a great rest of your weekend. This was Gutterball 76. Whoa!